Welcome to the show.
Hello, and welcome back to Ruben Uncut. Ruben here. Today's topic, uh, just a, this is just your reminder that NFTs are stupid and dead. Stupid and dead. NFTs are stupid and practically dead. I mean, some people are clearly still buying them. Some people are clearly still pushing them. But we're gonna watch Gary Vee talk about this because, as we know, I can't stand Gary Vee. Not from a realistic standpoint, anyways. Irritates me because of his lack of perspective. He likes to pretend like he has a full range of perspective, but he does not. So strap in, get ready to roll. We're going to talk about NFTs and Gary Vee. NFTs, non fungible tokens, or yeah, here we go. Aren't you glad these things were invented though, so you could learn the word fungible? It's a fun word.
It's insane because the first year of people discovering it, they're scammy NFT. The NFT technology is remarkable. It's insane because the first year of people discovering it, their scammiest friend made $83,000 selling a penguin with a penis in its eye. Of course, normal people don't get it. They're right.
I mean, Gary, what did you think the internet was going to do with this technology? I mean, it's the internet. Here, okay, so this is part of the problem, is that NFTs are a solution to a problem that doesn't really exist. They're trying to create the problem to sell the NFT. What is that thing? What is the problem here? Well, the problem here is that the people who came up with NFTs seem to have intended the NFTs to be like a step into art, a system for selling and monetizing art. But they failed to understand art. Like, that's part of the problem. Like, the concept doesn't really understand art, or even art-based markets, or collectors markets. That's the other thing. They don't understand the collector mindset. You have to understand the thing about Bitcoin is, at least the thing I can understand about it as an average person, is that Bitcoin can be used as money. Bitcoin itself can be used to make online purchases from vendors who accept Bitcoin. This is a clear utility for Bitcoin. NFTs, however, are the concept of having essentially documentation that your version of some type of virtual art, or sometimes maybe even physical art, is the real version. Which the problem is that only two people care if art is the real version. Wait, no, I'm going to extend it to three groups of people, okay? Investors, museums, and rich art collectors. These are hypothetically the only people who feel like they need authentication for the art that they are displaying. The average person, if they go and they put a piece of art in their house, they don't care if it's a replica. It's just in their house to look nice. It's literally a rich people problem. And the same thing can apply to digital art, because digital art is the most unsecure art in the world. And there's almost nothing you can do about that. People steal digital art all the time. Whatever the hell you have on your phone background is either a picture you took yourself, or probably something you stole from somewhere else. That's the reality. That is the reality of that situation. You can't it's like the amount you're creating protection for a thing, but the only protection it really does is authenticate. If you have the non-fungible token, it authenticates the art, the digital art that you have. But if you want to make digital art your avatar on Facebook or the background on your phone or laptop or whatever, 99% of people will not give a fuck. Only weirdo narcissists who want to be like, I got the real one. It's fake scarcity. It's horseshit.
It's the same reason people didn't get the internet in '99. You had normal people saying, how the hell is pets.com worth $85 billion? They haven't sold any stuff yet. I'm not even sure chewy.com has that valuation, you know? Mm-hmm. So like, you know, because they're right. The greed took over. The short-term flipping took over. And that shadowed the...
Oh, what? The same thing that always overtakes investment in economic industries? That thing? Oh, no shit, Gary. Oh, no, like literally that stuff's going on all the time in any of these types of industries. Like people who work in stocks, shareholders, these are not people who think long term. Our CEOs of businesses now don't even think long term. They get traded between companies like baseball cards. It's asinine. Because long-term plans don't generate immediate revenue for shareholders and board members. All this kind of stuff is based around the idea that you can get rich doing it. And long-term getting rich isn't what people want when they're looking at this shit. Also, NFTs are a dumb idea, and a lot of people knew it. Therefore, a lot of the people who jumped on board were con artists who knew this was an easy way to make a ton of money.
Incredible, you know, black and white of the incredible technology infrastructure of a global scaled ledger that can affirm ownership, that can unlock everything.
Unlock what, Gary? See, here's the thing, is that Gary, if you've seen my video on the V friends, then you might already know some of where I'm going with this. But because Gary Vee has had to to market his NFTs, he has literally had to create a bunch of fucking weird cartoon characters who are boring as hell. Like they have all the imagination of like a corporate chosen mascot. They look like reject children's toys or cartoons. Just absolutely terrible. And he has had to create his own, essentially, convention to market his NFTs, selling temporary NFTs that like become meaningless after the event because they don't roll over to the future event, to future conventions. Like, Gary, do you understand how incredibly, like, exactly what you were just complaining about that entire concept is? Here's an NFT that's really only for a thing that happens once ever. NFT tickets, I mean, yeah, I guess it's good for security on the tickets, but like the fact that you built in the concept of reselling the tickets means that you're essentially handing people away to potentially profit off of these things in a way where essentially at some point someone has to bite the bullet and actually go to your stupid convention instead of making money on selling the ticket. Oh, I made a whole video on this thing. Don't go watch it.
NFTs took the crypto world by storm in 2021 with some jaw.
Do you see the examples they're putting up here? Do you see this shit? Like they showed the monkey thing, which is just it's whatever. And now they're showing these. Like, look at these. Look at these. What is to stop me from making my own of these? If I look at this and I'm like, oh, that's cool, I want one of those. I could just make my own custom one of these because of, look at this. Look at this art style. It's literally just pixel art. Anyone, you could copy the art is not meaningful if like you, oh my God.
Jaw-dropping sales, one of the most notable being Beeple's Everyday's The First 5,000 Days, selling for 38,525 ETH, which at the time was $69.3 million in March of 2021. The NFT craze attracted Hollywood celebrities, music artists,
because NFT companies offered them essentially free money. Like, they didn't buy that NFT. The NFT makers gave celebrities NFTs specifically so that they could promote them. Oh, God.
and social media creators, as the technology was predicted to transform the relationship between entertainers.
That's weird. I don't know, like, maybe my brain is all poisoned with cynicism, but like making a video where Snoop Dogg repeatedly turns into a chimpanzee, it's weird, right? Am I the only one who thinks that's weird?
And fans. But in addition to celebrities and entertainers, NFTs also attracted scammers, creating an unfortunate...
They're all scams. They are all scams. They are all scams. NFTs are all scams. So in comic book collecting, sometimes you run across comic books that have been signed by an artist or something, and it will also come with a certificate of certification. And that's cool. That comic book has a higher resellability. However, there have been instances where comic books have that, but also the comic book artists sign like a ridiculous number of them, sometimes with a stamp. And so they end up having zero resellability. I mean, you can resell them, but like for $1. There have also, but you have to understand also that ultimately comics' real value comes in the fact that it is a piece of story-based media that entertains and inspires people. So if all you want is to be entertained and inspired, you can get a much cheaper copy of that comic book to read that doesn't have the certification or the signature. The certificate and the signature are only as valuable as the collector believes them to be. If you just want the pure joy of reading that story, you don't need that shit. Because that's how art works. I guess what I'm saying is that NFT is meant to be a solution to like copyright issues. But the only people who are going to be affected by this are people who weren't going to steal media to begin with. People don't steal media to make money. They steal media to consume media that they either don't want to pay for or can't afford. This is not a solution to that. NFTs will have no value to preventing the stealing of copyrighted materials. Because the people who want to steal copyrighted materials don't care it's a copy. Obviously.
Reputation for itself as a means of making a quick buck without providing much utility.
They're not providing, without providing much utility? Yeah, no. What do you think the utility of art is? What do you think the utility of bad art is? Like, oh my God. Gary, this is what you're doing. What is the utility of the V Friends? What is their utility? Oh, they're mascot characters to sell NFTs. Exactly, Gary. Exactly. Also, are the V Friends aimed at kids? Because it's really impossible to tell from looking at them. and watching the cartoons you've made to sell them. Impossible to tell. Impossible to tell if it's made for children or not. It feels like it's made for kids. The like level of conceptualization is on par. It's slightly below average for children-based entertainment. What were you going for? What were you going for? What is the utility of the V-Friends, Gary? What's the utility of your convention that exists to sell NFTs? It's insanity.
Since the start of 2022, NFTs are down 97%, causing many pundits and analysts.
No shit. Of course they are. Of course they are. Because it's so obvious. It's like, so I exist in spaces I exist in art spaces, and I exist in spaces where collecting is popular. So like, from my perspective, it was always obvious this was going to fail. Always obvious. Completely obvious. They don't get it. The type of people who thought this up didn't actually understand art, didn't actually understand people. It's asinine. It's nonsense. Even if these people are genuine and they don't want it to be a scam, the ultimate result is that people will be wasting their money on NFTs. Only rich people will get any value out of this. And even then, a lot of them won't. A lot of them won't. I gotta make sure the sound. I hope you can hear me. I keep forgetting to pick my microphone up. I'm talk loud, so maybe the sound's gonna be funky. I apologize.
To raise the question, are NFTs dead?
Yes.
Social media and business magnate Gary Vaynerchuk, better known as Gary Vee, went headfirst into NFTs, creating one of the more successful.
I always have to comment on this. Look at how unhealthy Gary Vee looks like. Like, Gary Vee looks like he just got off of chemo. Like, oh, God, I'm going to feel bad if it'd be really a huge faux pas if he, in fact, has just gotten off of chemo. Embarrassing for me. I mean, I haven't heard of him being on chemo. Is he on chemo? Is he okay? I've never believed he is okay. He has a lot of energy for someone who'd be on chemo, though. Can you do cocaine while you're on chemo? I don't know. Crystal meth, maybe? He looks like he does crystal meth.
Collections, V-Friends, which brings to life his ambitions of building.
Oh, look, the V-Friends, the exact stupid bullshit I was just talking about.
A community around his creative and business passions, using.
He's not a creative, though. That is the thing. He's not a creative person. He's a business person. And he doesn't actually get being creative.
NFT technology and their smart contract capabilities. By owning a VFriend NFT, you immediately become part of the VFriends community and get access to VCon. As a guest on the Bankless podcast,
unless you choose to sell your NFT ticket to someone else.
That's the state of NFTs.
Like, why do you even want to go to this convention? It's literally just random famous people, some of them talking about technology and some of them not. It's like, it's not even about the animals. The VCon is not even about the animals. I mean, maybe he has mascots of them there,
Gary
but they're
Vee
not in the
discussed the state
promotional
of
video.
NFTs and why it's way too early to call it dead. Gary was an early investor in many heavy-hitter technologies.
Which means he has the most to gain or lose from you believing him when he says it's not dead.
Technologies such as Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Venmo, Snapchat, Coinbase, and Uber. And he states most of these companies did not show promise in the first 24 months. So to write off NFTs, it's just way too early. Gary.
Okay, but like, Gary, do you understand why that's different? Those things are social media websites. Most of those things are websites or social medias. They have business plans. There are models they are based on. We can expect them to, they have to start out small and build a base. But like, you're not creating something that has staying power here. Like, look at on the screen right now is a bunch of these Bored Ape That's what they are. No, bored. Wait, are apes and chimpanzees? I may have mistakenly used the word chimpanzee earlier. Also, they look like chimpanzees. Chimpanzees are a type of ape, right? I don't study animals. But like this has fad written all over it. Like this has fad written all over it. It's you look at it and you're like, monkey. And you're amused by it for like a minute. Like, what does this make you feel? What do these monkeys make you feel? I'll tell you, moderate amusement. Moderate amusement. That has fad written all over it. It's trendy. You do it for a week, and in a few months, you forget it even happened. I don't know anyone who is excited about these. I mean, that's anecdotal, but I don't even see it online. Even the people I know I've talked to who are into crypto don't talk to me about NFTs. They normally talk to me about Bitcoin, which makes sense because Bitcoin is the most established NFT product, not NFT, is the most established cryptocurrency there is. I don't have it. No one has ever defended Dogecoin to me when I have said that they are shit and a bad idea. But people have attempted to defend Bitcoin. It's my point. But Gary Vee's the one out. But Gary Vee's out here trying to defend NFTs, and it's just, why should I trust someone who has a lot to lose and gains everything if this succeeds? He is not a person whose opinion on NFTs you can trust. He has a basic biased outcome need for this to succeed. He could potentially lose billions. We don't know how much he's invested, and a lot of those billions would actually be hypothetical billions that he never actually owned. Money is fucking weird.
He stands behind the technology and believes in due time.
Of course he stands behind it. Everything I just said.
Those who understand it will reap huge benefits. But before we listen to Gary, if you're new to the channel or not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button, as we put out daily content to keep you updated on the current market and news.
Look, I said my piece. I put out an obnoxious amount of content in the height of the height of the height. I have unlimited receipts of saying,
have you seen
99% of the projects that were booming in the boom
things.
were going to zero. So why I believe that? Because I saw the behavior.
Like, the best of those NFTs just look like something I could have stolen on Tumblr for free. The best ones looked like that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I didn't feel like, I felt it was internet stocks. I mean, I said it constantly.
Okay, got pregnant Michael Jackson cyborg. Attack on Titan's Pikachu. A couple small soldier guys. Go, like, this looks borderline satanic, to be completely fucking honest with you. We got a kid drawing, and we got non-gendered, or I guess transgender Buzz Lightyear here. I mean, like, I don't know. There's no penis, and he's leaking milk from his nipples. What in the sweet Jesus Christ? And there's Donald Trump with his arm around pregnant cyborg Michael Jackson, and there's like a Mickey Mouse with a jacked body and blood coming out of his mouth. Kim Jong, I guess trans Kim Jong Un. Yeah, no, Kim Jong Il is the one who's dead. I think. I got this. Nightmare Mario and what appears to be Yoda with a Yoda head on some misdrawn body. I assume the kid is supposed to be drawing this. That's a fucked up kid. Let's not lie here. Imaginative, but what happened here? What traumatized this child? I'm actually blown away they would actually use this example I am blown away they would use this example. Because I'm just imagining some everyday conservative person like seeing this NFT and going, NFTs are the devil. Get the fuck out of here. Like that's what this looks like.
I said it constantly. So what I've been doing is the thing I said I was going to do, which is operate and work. I built a 45, 50 person team. I've got another 30 hires. I have meetings every day. I raise capital from Andreessen.
He is investing in this. He has hired people. He's trying to build an entire business around this. He has everything to gain from you believing this.
From Andreessen Horowitz because I want to be around. I don't know how. Look, we're in a bear market. I don't know who's excited. Forget about crypto. Is anybody paying attention to?
He used air quotes for crypto, but like, dude, what you're doing is essentially just crypto with is an even more bullshit version of crypto. Like the utility part of art is easy to steal from this. Like with crypto, you can't. You would have to be like an elite hacker to steal crypto. But like this, the part of it, like Bitcoin contains its own utility. It's money. It's usable as money. The utility of your shit is just that the utility of your shit is that it's art, and it's not good art, and that's a big problem.
The severity of the war in Europe, the macro politics there, the inflation, the underlining reports from FedEx, housing's about to crash.
I don't know what the FedEx thing is about. I'll keep it real. But Gary Vee is right. A lot of these fucked up things are going on in the world. And they are convenient excuses for why his market is struggling to make him rich. But they are also just convenient excuses because NFTs are bad.
I really believe that. A lot of companies, consumer confidence is down. And so
I just want to make something clear. If you're an artist and you are making NFTs and like you really are a passionate artist who came to NFTs as a way to maybe market yourself, that's great, man. I that is not my problem with NFTs. If that's just you as an artist trying to get by and this is an option that you have, there's nothing wrong with that. The reality is that most of NFTs are made by people who are trying to take advantage of a market. You see, typically, art predates the market that it gains. The art happens first. The type of art happens first. But NFT has no real connection. Like people were creating paintings before people were spending millions of dollars to own paintings. Van Gogh sold almost no paintings while he was alive because the market for his paintings didn't exist until afterwards. And then the whole art world thing with art collectors and music and like private collections and whatnot. Also, cavemen were drawing paintings on walls for hundreds of years before anyone was like, oh man, I will give you money to let me take this art home.
I don't know, like I don't expect the great winter, you know, and so like it's not like this. My stock portfolio doesn't look good either.
Look at these. Look at this fucking trash. Like this art, like there are children who are better artists than him. Look at these things. Look, what is this? What is this? What is this? This looks like some shit that a stoner doodled in the corner of his pages in the back of a class he wasn't paying attention to. Like, what the this is doodle art at best, Gary, and like children chicken scratch at worst. Like
compared to last summer, and my trading cards don't look great, and I don't know what.
You know, I'm pretty sure he means they don't look great financially, but they also don't look great visually.
You know, people expect
like even when the art is competent, it's sterile. It feels lifeless. If you haven't seen the V, friends, that's what I'm describing.
People expect like the economies don't go on forever, right? And so they have to play with money they can afford to lose. It's a volatile asset right now. When this becomes normalized,
baseball cards used to be fucking pennies a pack. They didn't become a worthwhile investment for decades. NFTs are an attempt to be investment first art. Now, to be fair, not all NFTs are necessarily art. Like there was Gary Vee's attempt at an NFT restaurant. I have no idea if that's still going on. He seems to be more into this V-friend thing now.
When this becomes normalized, you know, of course, but I also think it changes in certain projects. Like,
look at how much, look at what, like the thing is, I wouldn't pay, I don't know what I'm looking at here. I don't know how this pricing works, but I wouldn't pay either of these prices. I would not pay 22, like, is that, okay, I'm going to guess that this number is whatever currency Gary Vee's system uses. Maybe it's Ethereum. It kind of looks like an E. And this is how much US dollars that Ethereum is supposed to be worth. And I got to be honest, I wouldn't pay $22.50 for that, let alone $39,000. Like, what? Why? What this, like, you could make this on, it looks like Microsoft Paint. Anyone could make this. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. If you really wanted this to be your background, go talk to your kids. Be like, hey, can you show me how to draw this? And they'll look at you like you're a freaking moron. And then they'll be like, yeah, Dad, it's called MS Paint. I thought it was something that old people use to draw. And then they'll make fun of you, as they should. Especially if you wanted one of these to be your back. Like this, like anyone, like if you really want your profile icon to be the world's least imaginative 8-bit figure, like you can do that for free. That's what I'm saying.
It has to be able to do something. It can't be a spec.
And your kids would probably do it for $10. Like, look at these. Why would I pay for this when I could make this? Like, it wouldn't even be hard.
Speculative thing. This is why I've always liked NFTs. I understood that the entrepreneurs,
Bored Ape Yacht Club thing feels racist.
Entrepreneurs could create the thing it does,
Mhm.
right? Like, whereas with you know,
Bored Ape doesn't inspire anything. Art that doesn't inspire anything is doomed to be forgotten. We remember art because it inspires or evokes some type of feeling or thought in us. Why would I pay $39,000 for something that doesn't do that? Insane.
and currencies can too, but I just think too many people are relying on comic book and art and toy flipping and baseball cards, not enough on operational business. Like, you need to think like Amex Black Card and Chase.
Okay. So, like, the thing is, though, is that he's not learning from those markets. He just criticized the people who invest in those things, but he literally, there is so much from those specific markets that he could stand to learn from, because that's what he's trying to make. He's trying to make collectibles, and it's hard to make collectibles. Companies try to make collectibles all the time because that's part of the dream. It's a sustainable franchise that people are constantly buying and collecting. Collectors will pay for the high-end shit, like fancy Todd McFarlane action figures versus the action figures your kid gets from Target that are like made in a Chinese factory somewhere and are printed out for pennies. No, collectors will go and buy a $50 action figure because it looks like a detailed version of Frank Miller's fucking Batman. Because ultimately, these collectibles are based on something that has already inspired people. Okay, Gary? This is the thing. If you want people to buy NFTs, you have to have NFTs that inspire people enough to want to own them. Right now, the reason for the problems you're describing is because they are being marketed as a collectible. They are being marketed as a collectible. And collectibles are only as valuable as the people who love the thing. Baseball cards, comic books, people love these things. Baseball cards give people feelings and thoughts about a sport that they are heavily emotionally invested in. They fucking love it. So they want to own the baseball cards. They want to own the cards of their favorite players because those things inspire feelings and thoughts and admiration in them. Comic books is the same thing. That's how I feel about comic books. When I read a good comic book, it makes me feel inspired. It makes me feel like there's beauty in the world. Now, there are plenty of comic books that I just get moderate amusement from, and I'm like, and it doesn't stick with me. But sometimes I read comic books that stick with me, and I love them. And that's the desire to collect is caused by the love of the thing. You have to create an NFT, Gary, that people love first.
Live Nation and Topps and Mattel, like you have to think bigger business, you know?
Yeah, because people buy that shit because they love toys and they love cards. People love these things. People like these things. People are emotionally invested in these things, which allows them to have a resellability, which creates the secondary market, which creates the types of collecting that you want NFT people to do. But you don't understand why people collect things.
So my energy is very matter of fact, man, because like it's almost as if nobody heard all the logical conversation of last year from me or anybody else, right? Like, yes, this is one of the biggest technology shifts of the human race.
But it's not. Maybe it is just the way you guys are marketing it. Maybe it is just the way you're trying to sell it. But you don't understand collecting and you don't understand art. And this is why you're failing.
But everything was so caught up in the short-term flip game that it just clouded. Yes, to your point, if you have Google alerts on NFT right now and you read what's happening day to day, you would be bullish. You're not bullish because you bought a NFT for $8,000 that's now trading at $600 and you're mad.
Yeah, because it needs to be resellable. It needs to be resellable. And without people loving the thing, there's no resale value. Investors are dumb. Investors want to chase, because investors are just chasing money. This is the difference between an investor and a collector. A collector might specifically be collecting things, and he may have an investment mindset about them. But this person is collecting something that already has emotional meaning to them. So even if those comic books aren't worth enough to retire on eventually, or those baseball cards, or the or rare book, or original movie posters, or whatever, they would still have a meaning and purpose to them. the utility of art would still be there. The utility of an investment, however, if the only reason to buy the thing is the investment, you are creating an empty market, a market that will only matter to the investors. And that's a market you're going to lose.
And you're supposed to be mad. I get it. But I hope that you're also mad at yourself that you knew you were taking a risk. Like, don't be mad at anybody but yourself kind of thing. Accountability is important.
It's not a risk. It's not technically risk. Anyone who's ever done collectibles should have already seen the problem with this market. You were doomed from the beginning. Until you can get an NFT, until you have an NFT product that is truly desirable for its own sake, this is a nothing.
Like, I have a ton of things that have gone poorly, and I'm like, ugh, I got caught up, I got excited, but I also was buying for different reasons. I was trying to learn. This is why I was petrified. The only thing I tweeted more than 99% of going to zero was don't buy what I'm buying, because I knew I was buying things because I wanted to learn how people were going to do things, and if it was in my wallet, see if they like.
It sounds like you didn't learn. If you invest in baseball cards specifically to learn about this, it really seems like you didn't learn shit.
I was in discovery mode, supporting people that I just met on Twitter because I want to. That's not a good investment thesis. You know, I like this person, I want to support their art. Like, you know, so, but there's a lot of.
That's the key point. That's the key. That's the key though, Gary. That's the key. There has to be art that people want to support.
Things that quote unquote need to be built. Warm wallets, right? Like, you know, like are starting to boom. Like, there's just a lot of cool stuff, like unlimited stuff, like NFT readers. QR readers are nice now, right? Credit card with chip readers are nice right now. Both those didn't exist 10 years ago in America. Europe on the QR.
Yeah, but those things have an obvious utility for things that already exist. You have a thing that has utility, but is not connected to anything important that exists.
On the chip, right? Like, that stuff's way better. And so, like, we need more of that, right? We need like, could you imagine you have an NFT?
Those products make things that already exist more convenient. Right now, getting a background for your phone or an avatar for your profile picture is easier than buying an NFT.
There's a replicant made that can sit in a hot wallet that doesn't allow somebody to steal your actual NFT, that's validated, that you go to Madison Square Garden right there, I'm looking at it, and if you own the Common Sense Cow, you can see the Cows, the hottest band in the world, perform. I'm making up.
Who the fuck are the Cows?
Up that the Cows are now a hot band, you know, but like, you know, there's so much. And wait.
Okay, he was making a joke. I forgive him.
So much. And wait to Apple and Facebook and Google. Like, look, the conversation isn't about the underlying tech or the smart strategic operations. It's about speculation of pricing. It's almost like everyone's paying attention to the value of the comic books, not the ability to print, you know, paper.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah, Gary. Yeah. That because everything I've been saying, Gary, that's exactly the point. That's exactly the problem. It's because NFTs don't have a reason, do not currently have a reason right now for people to look past the investment element, because it has been marketed as an investment. And the only people who give a gosh darn tootin' fuck are investors. You're the only ones in the market. You're the only ones who care about the market, because NFTs don't have a valuable product yet.
If paper wasn't invented yet, like, you know, the analogy is like everyone's worried about, you know.
What I'm saying is that you haven't given them a reason No, nothing in NFTs have given anyone a reason to look beyond just of it as an investment.
The it's why Wall Street fucks me up. Like everybody worrying about the stock price. All my clients at VaynerMedia have worse businesses than they could because they all care about their stock price every 90 days instead of building a real business.
That's a legitimate concern, Gary. That's a legitimate concern. What you're pointing out there, Gary, is a big part of why NFTs are failing. And you like, how could you even know these people and not realize the flaw in the market is that people like this exist, Gary. I mean, that's not even the only flaw in the market you're dealing with. But when it comes to the fact that people are valuing only the investment value and people are only valuing and people are being shady about it and trying to cheat other people. Yeah, Gary, because the only people in this market are people like these people. Come on, Gary, are you starting to see the problem?
And so I think that's my hope, that more operators focus on not so many. You see this, you guys are paying attention. So many projects are doing such short-term things to appease a small percentage of people in their Discord who are fudding, who don't necessarily aren't necessarily doing the wrong thing. They're worried about their self-interest. They should. They're human beings. But that's a bad job by the operator. Can you imagine every head coach?
That's capitalism, brother. Capitalism. That is literally the Ayn Rand theory. And like the philosophy of it is, Gary, is that you should only care about that. Now you're starting to sound like a communist, Gary, talking about how people need to start thinking about the future and not just their own self-interest.
In sports, right. Listening to the crowd and making his or her decisions on the next play based on that.
To watch the full interview, check out the link in the description. What do you think about Gary Vee's thoughts here? Do you think NFTs are dead? Leave a comment.
Okay, I'm not watching the whole thing. I have made a decision, but I do want to see what the huge VeeFriends announcement is. What could this possibly be?
Big VeeFriends announcement, and this is on what we were just talking about, big companies entering the game here. You've got a collaboration of collectible characters with...
Oh yeah, I'm not watching this whole thing. It is clear to me now that that condensed version is probably the best version to watch. This is just going to be a bunch of sucking Gary's dick.
Macy's and Toys R Us? Is that what's happening?
It's a big deal for me. All 400 plus Macy's around the country that have Toys R Us store within stores will be getting VeeFriends literally, right next to G.I. Joe and My Little Pony and Transformers and Pokemon. VeeFriends.
What the fuck is this
everywhere? Editing? Plush and collectible, and then blind bags, little ones. It's a huge deal. It's also huge. I haven't talked about it. I'm giving you kind of the exclusive. The flow code is going to be a big deal. Right now it's a preview page, but long form content.
Do you get an NFT with the toy?
Around the character development. Think He-Man. So He-Man came out as toys earlier than the cartoon was ready. So they put little comic books in the toy so that you could get into He-Man, because there was no way to.
I don't know why he's. Oh my God, I don't think Gary Vee knows how to use quotation marks. Okay, what he's saying there is close to the story of what happened with He-Man. They didn't have a cartoon. Okay, the story of He-Man goes like this. Once upon a time, the toy company that made He-Man passed on making Star Wars action figures, and so it went to Kenner, a company I think they later bought. But Kenner got the Star Wars toy rights, and it was gangbusters. Hell, they were selling pre-orders in boxes for Christmas instead of actual figures, and they still sold out. But essentially, the toy company that had passed on the Star Wars action figures was like, "Oh shit, we missed out big time on the money." So they were like, so the decision came down that the next time a fantasy epic like that became available on the market to make a toy for, they were going to pounce on the rights. And so they waited, and then the rights came around and they pounced on them, and that movie was Conan the Barbarian. And then partway into designing the toys, someone came to them and was like, guys, Conan the Barbarian is rated R and it's got titties in it. And suddenly everyone was like, oh, shiz kebab. We're making toys for an R-rated gory titty flick. We are boned. So they were like, well, what if we just made our own barbarian toy line? And so they did. Now, this is actually an important step for Gary Vee and his product. Getting these V-Friend toys into Toys R Us could be something. Here are the possibilities. But here's what has to happen for it to succeed. The question is, who will buy these toys? If it's weirdo NFT people, it will probably fail. If kids for some reason can be inspired by these incredibly generic designed characters and they start to buy it, then the toy might sell good. If the toy comes with an NFT, then by extension, the NFT will kind of also sell good. However, the reality is that very few parents would buy their children a toy and then need to buy an NFT also. Even if kids like the toys, even if the toys are a hit, it is not a guaranteed extension to selling NFTs themselves unless each of the toys contains an NFT, which would mean you'd be selling the NFTs for way less than you were than they showed us in that one on that app in the other video. Way less. Unless you're going to tell me your V-Friend toys are like $30,000 a piece. God, I can't believe someone paying $30,000 worth of money, even if it's even cryptocurrency money, for that. Do you remember that from earlier? Good Lord. All right.
Because there was no way to get into He-Man. 99% of the people that are going to see this.
Oh, wait. So they did initially make a comic book to sell He-Man. Sorry, I got distracted there. And the cartoon came later. It wasn't that the cartoon wasn't ready. The cartoon actually got picked up because there was some deregulation in the government, and also the action figures were initially a hit. Why? Because their designs and characters inspired children. Will this incredibly generic, udderless cow sell to children? By the way, the cow in the cartoon clearly has the voice of a man. I'll be very impressed if it turns out. Wait a minute. Gary, are you fucking kidding me? You're marketing this toy at 14 years and up? What? 14? Gary, it looks like a child's toy. Why would a teenager want this? Are you? Is it an adult product disguised as a infant's toy? Like what? 14 and up, Gary? What 14-year-old is what? It's not even. If 14-year-olds really want cutesy animals, like, why should a teenager buy this over a Funko Pop? This is literally just a cow. God damn, Gary Vee. What?
Macy's, Toys R Us stores around the country have no idea what V-Friends are. So kids are going to kind of like hopefully fall in love with the
Okay, so that was a doll. So you
cool.
used the word kids there. So like, what's going on here? I'm confused by the marketing you're doing, Gary.
Right. And so like, you know, but the storytelling, like I'm really on this mission, guys. So anyway, huge distribution on Macy's.
If you want to see something that is incredibly subpar and seems like it is only about, like, He-Man is a terrible example also for him, because He-Man is like actually a complex toy line. He-Man had like an entire like lore to its cartoon. And like they use that lore to create more toys to sell more figures. And so like the cartoons you're making do not have the density or complexity or interest of a He-Man cartoon. And you have to understand, Gary, that's not the highest bar in the world, but you failed to clear it.
A huge distribution on Macy's.com right now on pre-sale. International is coming in 2 weeks on VFriends Shop. We'll be doing the fulfillment for international. But this is how you do it. This is how you get people to start getting involved. And like the more people fall in love with the be the bigger person character.
Like also why would you, like that's not a name, Gary. It's four distinct words. Oh no, it's be a bigger, or be the bigger person. It's like a micro sentence, Gary. That's not a character name. This is essentially this if kids buy this, then kids are dumb.
Right? The more
we took too long to get the lead out of the water.
Things start to happen where I can do something with those 260 holders of Series 1 and Series 2, be the bigger person. Like this is super exciting. I think people are missing what real operators are going to be able to do. And I think real operators have to build affinity in the characters, toys, books, cartoons, movies, but then also build technology and utility for the original.
But like, okay, so here's the other problem Gary's going to run into. I mean, I guess it could be fine if this is like a really long-term investment for him. But like, the best case scenario is literally a bunch of kids grow up with this toy, and then in, I don't know, 20 years from now are like, oh man, I loved these as a kid. I'm going to buy the NFTs. Like that is the best case scenario. Like, I don't think He-Man action figures didn't even gain value until at least, like most toys don't gain value until people stop making them, Gary. Because action figures are collected normally based on either passion or nostalgia.
T holders, and I'm on that journey.
So it's
a long journey, Gary, and you might want to look into relaxing a little bit because you don't look like you're going to live long enough.
It's like an IP play almost, right? It's kind of like Marvel. It's kind of like Star Wars.
Is it like Marvel and Star Wars? I've seen your cartoons, Gary, and like they lack even the most basic complexity or density of those other IPs. Like you probably shouldn't even want to be compared to those IPs.
So what's interesting about the way you're doing it, right, is like you start with the digital, the NFT,
yes,
and you're working towards the physical.
Correct.
Whereas like traditional, like a Disney
Correct.
or some other big IP player, they're starting with the character and then moving.
Yes, because that's normally how it works. We are literally watching a man walking backwards.
Other direction, right?
Well, they started with whatever they started with. Pokemon started with a card game.
Started with a Game Boy game. Started with a Game Boy game, Gary.
Right, and then a video game, and then a cartoon. Like yes. Harry Potter started as a book.
The cartoon was technically made to sell the video game. And then they realized it was a licensing goldmine, and they created a card game.
Yes.
Like Magic the Gathering, so.
Magic the Gathering was a game that people played. Harry Potter was a book that people read.
You start with what you start with, right? I've got a huge thing coming out with Reebok, right? So Reebok.
Like, okay, so like this is actually a thing that happens a lot where corporate people want to work backwards because they think they figured out exactly how to market a thing, but they don't have a thing yet. And so they try to work backwards. Like, and like the thing is that the success of the, like, marketing is only one part of the success of these things.
Huge collaboration coming out. So I've got, you
Reebok, I hope you burn in hell.
know, with again, the aspiring alpaca, like I'm really trying to build this. And so I just broke a VFriend.
These look like that llama looks like the pin tattoo a skateboarder got. Like, Gary, come on, man.
This is very upsetting, guys. Live in the air, me trying to be cool.
So there's
And
no NFT
interactive.
element to these things. They're just the
Guys, the intuitive iguana.
Oh my God, what happened?
Ironically, the characteristic of intuitive iguana is that he is clumsy. So it's actually kind of coincidental that he would fall and break.
I did bad.
Nothing, no surprise inside of there.
What's it spell like?
No, I need him to answer that question. I hope that guy asked the question again.
But okay, so with these products, there's no NFT aspect or like Web3 aspect. They're just a physical product of a metaverse NFT.
My job is to bring value. Yeah, now, if you own these characters in NFT form, you're getting this stuff for free. But but I'm doing two things at once. One.
So wait, so if I buy the NFT, I'll get the toy for free? Is that what you're saying?
Access. If you own the wine cellar background in Series 2, you came to the store, you got free wine, you got a free Q&A experience, right? And then building affinity. This collaboration, this execution is about getting many more people in the world to care about these characters, which manifests in many different ways. Ultimately, for me, the catch-all.
So here's the problem, Gary. People will either love your characters or they won't. I won't say mine is the only perspective that matters, but when I was exposed to your characters, I was struck by how incredibly generic and uninspired they were, how their world was not based around a central theme or premise. It just wasn't. I couldn't. Like, what's the story, Gary? You need both components, characters and story. Or you need something that like really gets to people, like that people can really latch onto, like Looney Tunes, where every character has like a very strong, at the time, those characters were very original. In fact, actually, when I think about Looney Tunes, a number of them still hold up today. And Gary, I gotta be honest, from what I've seen of your product, they don't have it. They just don't.
Is the people owning the NFTs, especially Series 1. Like I stay up at night thinking about this. I've got 40 years, 50 years, I'm 46, 40, 50, 60 years. And I've got to do as much demand creation, much affinity, storytelling. And I've got to do a lot of technology and utility and I've got to bring value.
What's
I'm gonna close up after we see the rest of the VFriend stuff.
What's a typical VFriend holder like? I mean, you've probably
Ran the gamut.
This is a good question. I really want to know the answer to this question.
As you guys know, I brought so many new people into the space because I had a big audience, and they run the gamut, like true investors, collectors, flippers, just people that have appreciated my content that just want to own one for collectible. The same reason I collect jets. I mean, why do I have this Carmelo Anthony? He brought me happiness.
Yes, Gary. How do you not see the issue? Is that you're trying to manufacture something that typically when an artist creates art, it is because something has inspired him. There is a passion or a concern or a feeling that has come upon them, and they have decided to channel it into a medium. But Gary, your creations here, your V friends, aren't that. They are a product made of necessity because you needed a product. And because of that, they are soulless. Soulless, Gary. Soulless.
Carmelo brought me happiness. You know, the Knicks didn't, you know, I like him. So I buy that.
Yes, that's how collectibles work, Gary, and you don't have that. Anyone who's really into this is probably part of your cult of personality who just thinks you're a genius.
Like a lot of people like that
and they're buying it just because they like you. This is
taught them common sense, and so they're gonna buy this. You know, there's a lot of
the common sense Cow cartoon is dumb. Like literally, it's just other characters doing the most mind-bendingly, irrationally stupid shit, and the cow just comes by and solves their problem. And but each of the situations is just mind-bendingly stupid. And no, it's not a good cartoon.
There's a lot of different reasons, but you know, and then just other people in the space that, you know, I think there's a lot of people that are starting to realize during this, you know, not as hot market that it will come down to the operator. Like everyone's like the community. Well, what happens when the community loses 90% of its value? The community turns on the project. And I think, you know, it's up to the operator to rechange that momentum. And so I've been quiet, you know, I've been quiet because I've been focused, just very, very focused on what I have to do here.
In the chat, we got Brian Lowe and also me asking this question. What would you say, what do you have to say for a 20-year-old like me who wants to start his own NFT project? Or perhaps somebody like Bankless, or somebody who is in content or media or just like adjacent
create. It's like making an app. Everybody wanted to make an app when apps exploded. Everybody asked me, Gary, what app should I make? I said, one that brings people value. Nothing changes. What should Bankless do? Like, I don't know, like you guys have a real fucking show. I have a funny feeling that people would like to come and see it live. Create an NFT that gives.
Gary, what is the value that your V-Friend NFTs bring to people? This is a serious question, Gary. This is a serious question. What does it bring them? Is it an investment opportunity? Or is it delightful cartoon characters? Because right now, Gary, it looks like one of these things and not like the other.
You know, access to the 12 live appearances in 2023, where there's a party and guests.
I think I can get Ryan Sean Adams to leave his house 12 times in 2023.
That'll have to be at your house, man. I'll just beam in somewhere.
Gary, that just makes you a party promoter. You're holding a convention for yourself. Like, the narcissism of this concept is mind-bending.
I'll have to be at your house, man. I'll just beam in somewhere.
So, you know, I think yes to the 20-year-old. I also would say to the 20-year-old, you know, I worked in
my advice to the 20-year-old is be good at art first. Be good at art first. Learn art, understand art, or, you know, just start creating until you find something that you feel like genuinely speaks to you.
My dad's liquor store for 14 years, building it for my dad. But I earned my stripes and learned operations. And so, you know, one thing that a 20-year-old should consider is, especially right now, where a lot of people are not hiring as much, they can probably use good, young, aggressive talent. Maybe go get a job at one of the top 100 projects and get paid to learn. Like, I don't understand. People are willing to go into massive.
That's not bad advice, to be honest. But his advice still doesn't understand the problem with NFTs.
Debt for college to learn something fake. But like,
oh my God. I forgot that Gary Vee is anti-college. Not everyone needs to go to college. But college itself brings real value to our society. And if you don't understand that, then I don't know what to do with you.
But like then they're mad at companies when they don't pay them as much as they ideologically think, yet they're learning a ton. I'd much rather, if I'm a 20-year-old curious in the space, get paid minimum wage to work for Doodles than to go into debt at Wisconsin.
Totally agree. And
Minimum wage, Gary? Do you know what minimum wage is, Gary? You went to work for your dad in a wine. He already had stock worth over $2 million, and you figured out you could sell liquor over the internet. Gary, do you understand what it's like to work minimum wage? Do you understand what that does to your life? If these are one of the top projects, first of all, if these are one of the top projects and they're paying minimum wage, then they're a scam. Okay? If these are genuinely the top projects for NFTs, they shouldn't be paying minimum wage. That's just not the reality they should be. And if you have to work minimum wage, there's a very real possibility that you will also go into debt. Because being poor is full of debt traps. In fact, technically, going into debt for college is another poverty trap, a thing that people who aren't poor don't actually have to deal with. Because you do understand this. If you took out student loans, that means you were at some economic level where you could not technically afford college. This is what I mean when I say Gary has no perspective. He just doesn't. He does not have any real perspective. He sees the world as just the way that he exists in it. And if you told him that not everyone's brain worked the same, he wouldn't know what to do with that information. Oh my God.
I mean, fuck.
the time to do it is now too.
Gary swearing. What would your parents think?
It's the bear market. It's not during the bull
by the
run.
Way, 100. It's always the bear market. That's awesome. I'm so pumped right now. Like I'm loving this. Like nobody's like.
This Gary does not sound or look pumped. I'm just gonna say that. Like this is the least pumped I have ever seen Gary Vee. This is the most tired and the least pumped.
I'm just trying to like work and build and make good decisions. I mean, I made a decision for Gift Goat this morning that won't manifest until August of next year. And it's a good one that I really need for that micro community, but like, they're not going to, I'm not going to get the benefit of that until August, but that's what it requires. And so you have to have the stomach to deal with like people being patient. So
you need to also have other sources of income, like a website that sells wine. All right, that's enough. That is enough. That is enough of that. All right. Well, that was exhausting. I hope you enjoyed it. And spread the word that NFTs are dumb. They're a bad idea, poorly thought out by people who don't know what they're doing. Thank you for listening or watching, whichever you did here. If you have any comments or if you think that I'm horrifically wrong about NFTs, please feel free to email me at rubenuncut@gmail.com. Please like and subscribe wherever you are listening. And something that really helps me out is even if you listen to this somewhere else, why don't you go over to Spotify and give me a subscribe or follow, whatever they call it there, because that really helps me out. Because yeah, that would really help me out. Also, check out my YouTube page where I'm slowly putting up videos. You might be watching this video there. Thank you for watching. Have a whatever, but I hope it's a good whatever.